Hey, how are ya? Carol Allen here. Guess where I am? I am at the Super A Foods where Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga filmed Stars Born. No kidding. I live near it. Aren't you jealous? Haha. So I thought I would come here and take a look at their charts because the internet has kind of lost its mind since the beginning, but since the Oscars especially, the internet has lost its mind. And it's easy to see why, right? We all fell in love with Allie and Jack. And we all fell in love with Bradley and Gaga. And it sort of seems like maybe they fell in love with each other. She has been gushing about him from the beginning, and he said they had an instant connection. So are they acting? Is this all for fun? She was on Jimmy Kimmel right after the Oscars, and he said to her, "Is something going on?" basically, and she laughed it off, and she said, "We fooled you. We're actors. Come on." She said everything except for the keyword no. She did not say no, which I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting, personally, but far be it from me to gossip, right? God knows, Carol Allen with Love Is in the Stars is a class act. So I'm not going to gossip, but even I was curious. Even I was like, good God, get a room. What is going on here? So first we'll start with, ta-da, Bradley's chart. So Bradley is January 5th, 1975, and he was born at 5:09 a.m. in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, I haven't talked to him about this, and I haven't looked at his records, but this is what the World Wide Web says. So, Bradley has Scorpio rising, Sun in Sag, Moon in Virgo, and he's got a powerful chart. He's got something called Rachaka Yoga in the rising sign. It means the bright, the brilliant. People with that are very powerful, very motivated. It's Mars in its own sign in the first house. That makes a person super ambitious, super driven, very gung-ho. Now, he has a combination that Brad Pitt has, hey, where most of the planets fall into his first quadrant. They mostly fall between the first house and the fourth house. This is a really powerful Nabas yoga. Much more important than what sign you are or what yogas your chart has, which is the combination of planets, signs, and houses, not to get too technical on you all. But this is a yoga that makes a person very able to be self-fulfilled and very able to improve upon whatever they set their mind to. And it's powerful. He and the other famous Brad are both Sagittariuses. That's just kind of interesting, with the sun in the second house. That's just kind of interesting. Anyway, but back to the question at hand. His chart says he would be a late bloomer in love. His chart says he would have multiple relationships, which he already has. This is because an eclipse point, which we call K2, which is also known as the south node of the moon, is in his house of partnership. And that can make you have sudden reversals in relationships, sudden changes in relationships. So he had a very short first marriage. Now, he was also not in recovery. He was also drinking too much, by his own admission. And drunk husbands are not the best. I'm just going to say. That is what I've been told. Thankfully, I don't experience that personally. But he's now in recovery. He's now a sober man. A sober man is miles away from an actively drinking man with a drinking problem. So, yay, Bradley. Good for you. Woohoo. And, of course, he's in a relationship, which is nice. And the hope is that, as much as people love Gaga and Bradley, the hope is that he's honoring that relationship, right? I mean, they have a kid, so it's not just about that beautiful Victoria's Secret model. It's about the child, right? It's like when people have a child together, their relationship no longer just belongs to them. Not to sound all 1950s on you, but it would be better for the world if people tried to make things work if they have kids, right? Anyway, I'm really not answering the question yet, am I, of why him and Lady Gaga, what's going on? But I can say Brad is very successful, obviously. And one of the reasons is he has the moon in the 11th house. The 11th house is fame. The 11th house is hopes and dreams come true. The 11th house in the chart is doors opening easily, powerful people helping you. One of the best things a chart can have is to have the sun or the moon in the 11th house. So he's got that. He also has a connection between his 9th house and 11th house. That is another yoga. It's called Adana yoga that creates wealth. Wish I had that one, sadly. I do not. But anyway, so that's what's going on with Bradley. K2 in the 7th house, I gotta tell you, that's my least favorite thing for lasting relationships. I would even rather have Saturn in the 7th house than K2 there. It just creates a lot of like stop, start, up, down. It's very herky-jerky. It's very inconsistent for relationships. What's helpful is he does have a fixed rising sign, and he does have the ruler of the house of partnership in Capricorn, which is nice and solid. But K2's just, it's called the great dissolver. You don't want the great dissolver in your house of relationships, right? You don't want the planet that creates chaos in the house of relationships. And then another issue is, you can't see it, but there's only 23 points in his house of partnership. In Vedic astrology, we do a technique. It's called Sarvashtaka, and it's super complicated, and I don't know the math of it because thank God for computers. But I failed physics for poets, so do not ask me to start doing major astronomy math problems. But we get a number for each part of the chart, and they range typically between, on average, 20 and 40 points per house. They're called bindus. You want to have at least 25 per house for that part of the chart to be nice and strong. Anything less than 25, that part of the life is a little out of gas. So one thing that strikes me right away is, for example, Brad's House of Fame, 38 points. What? It's like on rocket fuel, okay? Any part of the chart with over 30 points is amazing. 35 points is rare. So his house of the self, which is the house of your personality, your presence, your impact, your ability to do what you set your mind to, your ability to sway people, to have personal power, charisma. 36 points, people. Does the guy get what he sets his mind to? Does he have a little bit of personal power and charisma? Oh, hell to the yes, right? His house of fame is his strongest house, 38 points. He, sadly, though, only has 23 points in the house of partnership. And that means partnership is not an easy part of his life. Other things are much easier. The 11th house is also friends. He'll always have friends. He'll always make friends easily. He seems like he has a lot of friends. And then, of course, there's a whole subchart on partnering. And that subchart is not the easiest for relationships either. So I don't know that he's ever going to be a long-time relationship guy. I think we're going to see more relationships in Bradley's future. And, major movie star director types do not need huge pop star actress types as partners. He needs to do what Matt Damon did. He needs to find a nice bartender to devote her life to him and follow him around hither and yon, right? Hopefully he has found that in his beautiful model. And forgive me, I'm totally blanking on her name like the rest of the internet. Because the only name we can think of is Gaga. We're all Gaga for Gaga. So Lady Gaga, March 28th, 1986, 9:52 a.m. in New York, New York. This is, of course, she's not a friend of mine either or a client of mine either, but this is what the internet says. So Lady Gaga has Gemini rising, according to Vedic astrology, the moon in Libra, and the sun in Pisces. And boy, does she seem like a sun in Pisces. The girl is just a tad sensitive. Now, I love Gaga. She's so powerful. She's such a dynamo. She's such an activist for everyone. She wants all of us to love one another. She stands for a lot of good in the world. And You know, her life has been very dramatic. And she says with every great success, whether it's a major tour or a major movie or an album, every time she has a huge major success, she loses a significant man in her life. And so she's been, what's the word? Engaged. Thank you. My brain does work. She's been engaged, and that fell apart as soon as she took on A Star is Born, OG. Apparently, her ex-boyfriend, who's on a TV show, Taylor, what's his name? Because really, we can't think of his name either. We can only think of Bradley, right? He apparently, according to her, didn't like that she was going to go off and do a movie. I will tell you, being married, men do like a lot of attention, ladies. They do like us to focus on them and not run around with really hot movie stars rolling around doing love scenes. Kind of doesn't go so good with husbands. Thankfully, or maybe not thankfully, I haven't had to test my husband on that one. Hi, honey. Okay. But the real reason, though, that her love life has been a drama is it's her destiny to have a lot of drama in love. She sadly has the planet of love, Venus, with the eclipse point Rahu. Now, Rahu's called the north node of the moon. Rahu Venus people have high highs and low lows in love. Their loves are very much soap operas. Their love lives are very much soap operas. And I will say the theme of infidelity is in their love lives. So now, before you get all excited that means she's with Bradley, it doesn't. But it is interesting. And, it is very difficult in show business when people spend a lot of time apart and they have a lot of temptation. It is very difficult, I would imagine, to stay a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout. And now, what else can I tell you? Well, Bradley had a malefic in his house of partnership. So does Lady Gaga. She has Mars. When I say malefic, I mean bad guy planet. I mean a planet whose nature tends to cause trouble. And Mars is, we blame Saturn a lot in astrology for causing heartache. Mars gets you in relationships quickly and out of them quickly. Mars causes arguing and fighting. Lady Gaga has admitted to arguing and fighting with past boyfriends. She is a strong woman with a lot of strong opinions, mind of her own, a lot of her own personal autonomy and wealth. And she doesn't strike me as the kind of woman who takes a lot of crap. And, in her chart, the sun takes center stage. And the sun, of course, is the power source. People with a powerful sun taking center stage are really kings and queens among us. They really are. And so she has a ton of power, and it's in Pisces. So she's very sensitive. She's very feminine. She's very emotional. And she really wears her heart on her sleeve, like all Pisces do. And boy, does she. So, but Mars in the house of partnership, like I said, that gets you in relationships fast, out of relationships fast. That causes broken relationships. Now, unlike though Bradley, who only has 23 points in his house of partnership, like I said, you don't want to have less than 25. She has 35 points there. So she will always attract powerful, fabulous partners. She will always be able to be in love relationships. And I do think she will marry. I do. And I think this because the ruler of her house of partnership is in the ninth house. The ninth house is legality. Legal partnerships are marriages, I gotta say. And the ruler of her house of partnership is in a fixed sign. That'll help it have some lasting power. We'll see how long. I mean, her rising sign and her sun sign are mutable signs. Her moon sign and her Venus are immovable signs. There's not a lot of fixed energy in her chart. So there's a lot of change in a life like this. There's a lot of, change, switching chapters, lots of ups and downs, as I already said. But I haven't even got to the part that you guys care about, right? Which is, what about her and Bradley? Now, I do just have to say one more thing. Lady Gaga has the moon in Libra, which I mentioned. Libra is the natural sign of partnership. Very, very, very romantic having the moon in Libra. Ooh, the sun is coming out. Wow, my lighting totally changed. Oh my goodness, what do we do? It's very romantic to have the moon in Libra, and she, not only that, she has the moon opposite Venus. So the girl is a hopeless romantic, and she's totally beautiful. That's also a very beautiful physically combination, because the moon is the face and Libra's ruled by Venus, and Venus is the planet of beauty. But when it comes to her and Bradley, just by observation, watching a lot of interviews with them, I was thinking it sure seemed like she was Gaga, right? Gaga is Gaga. She's the one who gushes more. She's the one that's more verbal. He seems a little more buttoned down about it all, and he seems very professional. He seems to have a little bit of detachment about it all. Now, she has Venus in Aries, that's extremely passionate. He has Venus in Capricorn. That is a much more practical sexuality, sensuality, romantic nature. Venus reveals your romantic nature. But when I do a 15-step compatibility technique between the two of them, I have to say, it does appear there is beautiful compatibility between them. And it says that Brad would be, look at me calling him Brad, my good buddy Brad. It says that Bradley would be magnetically attracted to her, and that he would be really wowed by her. Now, that's between their moon constellations, their moon Vedic constellations. It also says they would both mutually support one another, that they would both knock themselves out to make the other one happy. These, both the magnetic attraction thing and this mutual support thing, it's called innate giving, indicate that they would both feel something really remarkable, truthfully, between them. And then there's 5 steps in this really incredible ancient compatibility technique that we do in Vedic astrology that are considered the most important. And if you fulfill all 5 of these critical steps, this helps to indicate if you can get your needs met, if you can really be with someone. And guys, they fulfill all 5. So they have all 5 of the critical steps fulfilled. Then they have 2 of the 3 really incredible soulmate connections that we look to. And then if we look at their Venus energy together, which is love, they also have all 5 of the critical steps fulfilled. They have a really high wavelength score. They also have mutual innate giving. And now under their Venus energy, it says she would be magnetically attracted to him. Venus is how you love and how you are romantically. So I gotta say, if they wanted to be together, sparks would absolutely fly. If they wanted to give it a try, oh my God, they would really break the internet. And it doesn't mean they have to. You know, this is where astrology just shows potentials and possibilities. It doesn't say what's happening, right? This is beautiful compatibility, but, you know, there are many, many people we can feel this with. So it doesn't mean a single thing is happening, and it doesn't mean any of us should lose our heads. But, you know, one thing I didn't say is that they have a Mars-Sun connection. So her Mars is in his sun sign, and that is hot, hot, hot. So those love scenes, those kissing scenes, they definitely enjoyed them. And it could have gotten a little hot to handle. And it, you know, it would have taken a lot of strength and reserve on their part to resist each other. But Bradley has a lot of strength and reserve, more than she does. She's like a big open-hearted puppy dog. And, you know, she has the moon next to Saturn, even though they're in different signs, and she has a retrograde Saturn. Saturn is reserve. So both of them, when they commit, I do think they're honorable and they can fully commit. So I bet they were able to resist each other, but I bet it was hard. And if they didn't want to, wowza, look out world, it would be amazing. So we'll see what the future brings. She's available now. He is seemingly besotted with his absolutely gorgeous woman, and his gorgeous woman and Lady Gaga seem extremely friendly. And like I said, for the sake of the child, I hope he stays right where he is. But this was fun, wasn't it? Okay, everyone, if you would like to get a report like this on the relationships in your life, if there's a Bradley Cooper in your life that you're wondering about, go to soulmatestars.com/ Right Man Report. For less than 20 bucks, you can run up to 11 pages of compatibility information on you and everyone you're wondering about. And find out, because I gotta say, it's really incredible. It tells you if there is chemistry, if you can get along, if your lives could come together, if there would be mutual support. And it's fascinating stuff. It's ancient and it's still oh so relevant. So check it out, soulmatestars.com, Right Man Report. And thanks everyone for hanging out with me on the tabloid side of the street in front of what? Super A Foods in Los Angeles. Okay, till next time, God bless.